Hi, this is Elisa. Welcome to XYZ Wellness, and today we're going to talk about the running side of things. And if you may or may not know, but I am an avid runner, so I love to talk about all things running. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to think about injuries. And one of the common injuries or issues that runners have to deal with is IT band syndrome. And that can affect the outer side of the knee. It can affect and cause tightness on the outside of the thigh all the way up to the hip. And just in case you're wondering, if you're not familiar with your IT band, it does run up the length of the leg, up on the outside of the upper thigh. And it can cause all those issues. And what we really want to do is prevent those issues from happening. So if you're not dealing with IT band syndrome, we want to keep that from happening. And if you are, then some of these moves and poses will hopefully help you deal with that. So we'll start looking at some of these, and remember, you can do these before you ever have an issue, and that's really my hope for you. So we'll get started with one of my favorite poses or stretches that you can do after your run. So, and keeping in mind, you want to do all of these moves when your muscles are warm, after you've done your run, after everything is nice and warm, rather than stretching a cold body. So we'll cross one leg in front of the other and finding, just maybe a little sensation here as we do that, maybe feeling that back leg already. So either having the feet close together or a little further apart. The further apart they are, the more challenging this is going to be. And we'll start upright, and we'll take a big breath in. And as we exhale, we'll hinge forward, keeping the spine long, coming into a forward fold. So anytime we come into a forward fold, we can bend the knees as much as needed. So you could bend the knees right here, and maybe bring your hands to our blocks, or just down to the floor if say you're at a park and you don't have blocks, but bring your hands to wherever they go. And maybe choosing to stay right here, you might have enough sensation into that outer hip and thigh of that back leg. Or if you'd like a little more sensation, a little more stretch, maybe bringing the hands over to the opposite side. So if you're stretching with the right leg behind, you might bring your hands over towards the left side. And again, maybe hands to the block or to the calf, wherever feels good. And if that's too much, if you start to experiment with that or explore that option, and you notice, hey, that's way too much, then bring your hands back to center. And you can relax the neck and the shoulders, making sure you're not creating any tension there. And stay here just a few breaths. And then we can inhale, softening the knees as we inhale with a straight spine. So of course, whenever we stretch one side, we want to make sure we give the other side equal love. So we'll put the other leg in front now. Take a big breath in, and then exhaling, coming forward. So already you might be aware of a difference on the two sides of the body. And if this is your tighter side, maybe staying right here. Or if this is your maybe more flexible side, you might choose to come to that option where you walk the hands over towards the opposite side. So again, if it's the left leg in the back, we walk our hands over to the right side, either bringing hands to the floor or to the leg, or maybe to the block. You can experiment either bringing the feet closer together or further apart. Again, a few breaths here, coming back into the middle, and then inhaling to lift. So maybe you're already noticing what we just did, and maybe that's enough or it felt really good. But we want to have a couple different options, and we want to be able to stretch that out in a few different ways. So another option, if you have something to sit on, say maybe you're at a park and you've got a park bench, you can come onto that seat, and we could explore a seated pigeon pose. So a lot of times we might have heard of pigeon pose, or maybe we have pigeon in our practice, but we can also come to it in a seated option, bringing, say, the left ankle over the right thigh, flexing that foot to protect the knee. You might sit up nice and tall here, and maybe already noticing that stretch, maybe some sensation there along that thigh. So if that's feeling okay, we could stay right here. If we want a little bit more, maybe starting to hinge forward, we could bring the arms down in front of the body. So just checking in to see how that feels. If that's too much, coming back upright. And if this is too much, maybe bringing the foot onto the floor or onto a support. And we could roll that foot onto the pinky toe edge of the foot and maybe changing that a little bit, getting a little less intense sensation as we do that seated variation of a pigeon pose. And again, we always want to do both sides. So we'll come over to the other side, and you might choose to have that version with your foot on a support or down on the ground. Still keeping that foot flexed, still sitting up nice and tall. But again, maybe noticing, okay, maybe this is your looser side, and then maybe bringing that foot and the ankle back across the opposite thigh. So you can explore those different variations, seeing what works, and breathing into whatever comes up for you. And only staying there as long as feels appropriate. But remembering this is a great option because we can do this even if we're at work and maybe we're feeling a little tight, noticing that we need a short little break, we can come to this pose at our desk. And then just allowing that to help open some of that tightness. And then we can release that. So another variation or another pose that we can do for a tight IT band and into the thigh areas to come down onto hands and knees. And we'll do a variation of a lunge pose. And we'll take the right foot forward, placing the knee over the ankle. And starting in a traditional lunge, we could bring our hands to the blocks or maybe to the floor, bringing the rear leg behind us. And just first noticing how that feels in this more traditional low lunge. And if you want a little more sensation, bringing the right hand, maybe with the right block, inside of the foot. We can start to walk that foot towards the outside edge of our mat, just changing the angle for the hip. And we could choose to stay right here, or we have a couple different variations to maybe change that a little bit if that's appropriate for today. So our first option would be maybe to come down onto the forearms. And then our other option, and I'll come back to hands to show you this so that I can move the blocks away. You could actually roll that foot, the right foot, towards the pinky toe edge. And again, maybe that feels good, or maybe that's too much sensation. So just observing how that feels, maybe coming onto the pinky toe edge and maybe just rocking that around a little bit, noticing how that feels. Another option would be to bring the right hand just inside of that right thigh, not pushing or straining in any way, but allowing just a little bit of extra weight from the hand to help with that opening. You can stay there for a few breaths, maybe 30 seconds or 60 seconds, relaxing the shoulders and relaxing the jaw. And then when you're ready, just bringing that foot back down. We can slowly walk that foot back to the position in line with the knee and the hip. And then switching sides, we'll step the left foot forward. Again, starting in that low lunge. Relaxing all the muscles of the face and the jaw. Sometimes when we're trying to stretch one area, we create tension in another part of the body, so trying to keep that from happening. And we'll maybe choose our options for this side. So again, first bringing the left hand inside, maybe walking the foot across, causing that different angle for the outside of the leg. Maybe starting to shift onto the pinky toe edge of the foot. And then maybe coming down onto forearms. So any combination of those options, whatever feels appropriate for today. And then just staying there as long as feels good. Remembering if this feels uncomfortable in any way, we can back out of this, coming back into our more traditional lunge. And maybe bringing hands hands back to our blocks, walking that foot back in. And then we'll step back, coming into child's pose. So we'll bring big toes to touch and let the knees be wide. So we sink our forehead down to the ground. And this can be a nice place to pause and reflect on those stretches that we've done. Just noticing maybe the openness that we've created. And you can stay here just as long as you'd like. Maybe pausing the video, but we'll keep moving forward. We've got one more stretch that I wanted to show you. And if you have a strap, it can help here, but you don't need the strap necessarily. We'll come on to our backs. And you can always take an opportunity to bring the knees into the chest first, rocking them around. And that just helps relieve the low back. That can feel nice. And then bringing our feet to the ground. If you do have a strap or maybe a towel or a bathrobe belt or maybe a long t-shirt, you can take that and loop it around the instep of the foot. And if you don't have anything, you can just hold on behind the thigh. So taking that strap around the foot, we're first finding a little bit of a hamstring stretch. So you can bend that knee as much as you need to stay here. And breathing into that for maybe 30 seconds or so, first getting a little bit of release for the back of the leg. And then we can turn this into our IT band stretch. So we'll take the strap now. So we've got our right leg lifted. We'll take the strap into our left hand. And you can bring your right hand to the floor if that feels okay. And we'll start to bring the right foot towards the left side of the body. Not a very big move. And then maybe angling the big toe towards the left shoulder. So as we're coming across the body, you might notice that stretch anywhere along the leg, all the way up into the IT band, especially if you're particularly tight there. And just pausing and breathing, noticing what happens here, because especially when we go to the other side, you might notice something different. So first making that observation, what's happening here, allowing the breath to flow. And staying there for 30 seconds or more, maybe 60 seconds. And we'll come back to center and we'll switch sides. So again, you have the option of using that strap or holding on behind the leg. First finding your hamstring stretch. Still keeping that knee bent as much as you need. And then after breathing that into that part of the leg, we'll switch hands with the strap now holding on with the right hand and bringing the left leg towards the right side of the body, angling those toes towards the shoulder. Maybe noticing here if you feel the sensation in a slightly different part of the leg. So just noticing what happens on this side, relaxing the shoulders and the jaw, maybe even closing the eyes if that feels particularly good. Breathing into whatever part of the leg that you're feeling this, but especially you more than likely may be feeling it into the IT band up here, into this upper thigh area if you're having some tenderness there already. And then when you're ready, you can bring that foot back to the sky, bending that knee, and we'll set that strap off to the side, maybe bringing knees to the chest, or we can come into happy baby. So bringing the legs up towards the sky, we could choose to hold on behind the thighs or the calves, or maybe reaching up for the feet. Just inviting the hips down towards the ground. And if there's no discomfort in the low back, you could rock from side to side like a happy baby. Or if that does cause discomfort, then just staying still like a dead bug. So choosing what feels best today. And again, this position, you might choose to stay here for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, whatever you have time for, and whatever feels good in your body. And then we'll release that. And coming back up into a seated posture. So we moved rather quickly through these options. So I do invite you to play this again, and if you need to pause at any point and stay in a particular pose a little bit longer, maybe doing that, and just remembering that the more we do these poses, especially before we're experiencing pain, if we do them after our run, and we don't need a whole lot of time, just 5 or 10 minutes to help prevent these issues from happening. Another thing that we can do is to use a foam roller to help roll out the IT band, and I do have another video that's dedicated to foam rolling options, so I'll include a link for that in the comments below. So please feel free to check that out, and thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you enjoy this and my other videos, please make sure to like and subscribe and to hit the little bell below for notifications so you'll get notified whenever I post a new video. And thank you so much for your time today. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.